Welcome to the SOB radio show, where we have fun, interesting guests, and hot topics. Each week, we offer insights into music, fashion, health, fitness, and humor. Do you have the perfect guest for us to interview? I want to know. Drop me a line on our Facebook page at SpunkyOldBroad1 or reach out to me on our website at SpunkyOldBroad.com. And now, back to the show. I'm back with Jordan Savage Monks, who describes herself as a modern Renaissance woman. And I'm going to ask her now about her bubble program, because she's got bubblists, which is amazing. And you also use this for teaching kids the science of soap bubbles. So tell us what this is all about, how you got started with it, what you do with it, who you go to with it, and so forth.
Sure. Well, I started because as an actor who is always looking to do some random job and avoid an office job no matter what, I found myself doing a lot of kids' parties over the years. And I have done everything. I've done the big head characters, I've done the princesses, I've done the balloons and the face painting, and you name it, I've done it. And the idea of bubbles crossed my path, and it was kismet. I have this scientific mind that I started off pre-med in college and absolutely love science. I love kids, and I got to be with kids at parties doing science about beautiful bubbles. And what we do, our shows are entertaining enough to be birthday party entertainment, and they're educational enough to be school assemblies. So we do both. And our shows are on the science of soap bubbles. So we explore the soap film properties and the rainbow colors and how bendable they are, and we create cube-shaped bubbles and triangular bubbles. And in the grand finale of the shows, we always put people inside of bubbles.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So what's the age range for this?
It's kind of like 2 to 102.
I just can't imagine senior high school kids sitting still for this, but maybe they find it very entertaining.
Yeah, no, actually, it's really like toddlers through 6th grade is our target. Although we have done some high school formals where it was a formal dance, and before they went in, every kid got to go in a bubble in their formal attire. But that's a little unusual. We've also done senior centers, but truly elementary school is
well,
generally
where senior centers would love it. I mean, it's something different. This bubbles that they go into, is it a soap bubble or a plastic bubble? Or so you can make a soap bubble big enough that people can go into it as a couple at a prom.
Actually, a couple at a prom would be a little hard. Although we could do a rainbow, but we do one person at a time.
Ah, okay. Well, that's really interesting. But it just shows you guys out there, gals out there, that imagination can take you to all kinds of different places. I mean, I think this is really, really interesting. So how did you divide up your time? How much was bubbles and how much was acting?
Well, the bubbles kind of took over. I was doing them both until the business that I created just sort of took off, and they really have taken over my life for a long time. I've been doing them for about 12 years. So yeah, I don't know how I divided my life.
Wow, that's amazing. That is just amazing. So I know that we've talked about, stress, and we've talked about, your studies that were pre-med when you started and so forth. What about food? Your husband's got this gluten-free bakery. I am not gluten-free. I eat just about everything. Although, believe it or not, I'm probably the only person that you'll ever meet that does not like chocolate. I've never tasted coffee, and I don't drink. So it's a weird combination. Now, I certainly like a lot of other things, that's for sure. But are there any things that you talk about with a special diet or anything?
My big my big diet advice is just don't do processed foods. And even then, don't do anything 100% of the time. But when I look around the specific diets of long-lived people around the world, some lived on vegetables and little to no protein or little to no meat, and some eat a lot of meat and fat and little to no vegetables. And there are all kinds of combinations of diets that have worked for specific people around the world throughout history. But the number one thing is that they don't eat packaged foods.
Interesting. And of course, we've all become accustomed to convenience, and packaged foods give you a little longer time than running to the store to get fresh meat all the time. However, you think about processed foods. I mean, you think about some of the deli meats and things like that. But one of the biggest American pastimes are hot dogs, and hot dogs are processed food. So what do you tell people? Because, we've got holidays coming up and summer and all the rest, and people are going to be grilling.
My advice, may be surprising, is eat the hot dog.
Thank you. Thank you.
Personally, and actually, I live in LA. I'll go to Dodger Stadium and eat a Dodger dog. I will do that. But will I do that all the time? No.
Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it, Jordan? I mean, it's really everything in moderation, nothing in excess, So you're right. I mean, just like the occasional drink or the occasional cup of coffee or the occasional chocolate or whatever is not going to hurt you. It's when you do it all the time. And I think that's what people were saying about being quarantined, is the fact that they were eating more because I think they could go to the refrigerator and get whatever they wanted, and they didn't necessarily have the things they should have in their fridge. And sometimes grabbing a carrot or grabbing celery or grabbing something like that is just not as nurturing as grabbing a piece of cake or a cookie or something like that, But there's got to be some snacks that are healthy for you. So what do you recommend?
I actually recommend that you be open to exploring something new. I personally didn't have a quarantine food problem, but I deal with my stress in other ways than eating. But I don't buy a lot of packaged foods to start with.
Well, that's the key right there, right?
Yeah.
Is keeping it out of your refrigerator. If it's not in your refrigerator, and if something isn't in your pantry, you can't eat it. So the whole thought here is, when you do order food or shop or whatever you're doing at this point, make sure that what you're buying is healthy, and then you can't be tempted. But Jordan, you've got a husband with a bakery. That is very tempting. I mean, he can bring home anything to you at any time. That's great to snack on.
That is true. And there right now at our house, there is an entire stack of things in the kitchen. And the best thing, and actually this goes for the treats my husband brings home, or packaged things. Eat them, but when you eat them, enjoy the heck out of them. And this goes for the hot dog too. If you're going to eat something, whether it's a carrot or a cookie, enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it, and don't make yourself wrong for eating it. If you enjoyed a cookie and really, really relished it, then you wouldn't feel the need to eat the entire package.
Oh my gosh, I can't even think about eating the entire package. Wow. No. At least we have to have some self-control, right? And I guess, your husband could say, honey, I'm not bringing anything home. And how would you feel about that?
I actually, yeah.
Tough question.
I'd be fine for a while, and then I'd start going, honey.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, you have to consider him too. Just as an interesting question, because we always talk about, people who are around food a lot. Either they eat a lot or they're turned off. Does your husband like to eat a lot of bakery products, or is he done with them by the end of the day?
He is famous for his sweet tooth.
Ah, okay. So he's not going to be a cooperating partner in this. He's going to say, "Do what you want, but I'm bringing it home because I like it."
Yes, that is true. Although he is extraordinary in that I make him do all kinds of things. I have him drinking celery juice and all kinds of vegetable juices, and I have him eating salads like he never ate before, but I don't stop him from eating the things that he wants to eat when he wants to eat them.
That's great. You're probably enjoying that new show, The Beauty and the Baker. I don't know if he's watched it, or because I know bakers usually get up very early, but there's that new show on ABC, The Baker and the Beauty and the Baker, and it's quite cute. It's very cleverly done. So if you haven't watched it, have him watch it.
I haven't, but I will.
It's on Monday nights at 10 o'clock, although I think they're wrapping up the season now, and who knows when it will come back. But what about aging, Jordan? How is it possible to become biologically younger?
I know it sounds crazy because we obviously cannot become chronologically younger, but aging is simply cells that aren't reproducing in the way that they did when we were younger. And the things that affect our cells are damage and repair. And when we're really, really young, we have very little damage and all kinds of repair mechanisms. And as we age, then we collect more and more damage, and our bodies don't have the ability to repair as quickly or as thoroughly. And each time we recreate cells from a damaged cell, it's going to age it more and more. Like, I know we don't really have faxes anymore, but since this is the over 50 crowd, I know everybody remembers them. If you faxed something and then took that fax and faxed that, and then took that and faxed that after a while, you can't read it anymore. It doesn't have any of the detail that it had originally. And something similar happens with the cells in our body. But if you can start minimizing the repair and minimizing the damage and maximizing the repair, then your cells will begin to act as though they are younger.
But younger is not what you were like when you were young. And that's what people need to understand. You will feel better. You will appear younger. You will act younger, but you're not going back to when you were 20 or you're going back to when you were 30. I mean, there are things that are happening to you. I mean, I just I will tell you that as I see some of the stars, the movie stars, I think women age a whole lot better than the men do. But I just, when I'm so happy when I see some of the people that I used to go, oh gosh, are they gorgeous? And now they've got some of the same issues that I have. I say, oh, good, I'm not alone. So it's kind of nice to see that. But we can get younger. I mean, most people take me for at least 15 years younger than I am. But I take really good care of myself, even with everything I've been through. And so, but I'm certainly, when I go back and I look at what I was, or where I was, or how I moved and what I did, I can't do those things anymore. So I think people have to be realistic about aging. And the whole point is you get older, but you don't get old. There is a difference. You're going to age, but you don't have to be ancient. So I think all of those things are part of where we are and what's happening. So what else can you tell us about what you're doing in your life, Jordan?
I am a constant experimenter. I am definitely my own guinea pig. Um, I actually do research into what can make us and what can make us stay as biologically young as possible, as long as possible. And I do things like fasting. I've been experimenting recently with dry fasting, and
Dry fasting. What's dry fasting?
dry fasting is fasting with not even drinking water. Like
Oh my gosh.
nothing.
No liquid. Wow. But is that healthy?
It strangely is, but you're clearly not going to dry fast long term. Uh, and if you do it for more than a few days, then you really should have a doctor watching over you. And it is definitely not something that you just jump into. If for anybody to dry fast, you need to baby step it into doing some short fasts, like intermittent fasting, like short fasts throughout the day, or do water fasts to lead up to it. But dry fasting is strangely really powerful. It's about like getting the results of about 3 days of water fasting in 1 day of dry fasting.
Wow, they say what you can live 3, 4, 5 days without food, but you can only live 2 or 3 days without water. So, wow, I wouldn't be good at any of this.
Well, you definitely don't want to start off jumping in the deep end. I don't recommend jumping off in the deep end for anything. But actually, it's a myth with the not being able to survive 2 to 3 days without water. The biggest problem with not being able to survive that long without water is that most people will panic. The panic is not going to be good for you, but your body will break down fat to burn energy, and the water content in the fat the body will use as its own water creation.
Wow. Well, folks, you're hearing it here. I'm not sure if you're going to want to do this, but it's something that Jordan is talking about. What about some of the other things? Now, are you doing any acting anymore?
I'm actually writing a film. I don't know that I'm interested in auditioning at this point. I might be, but at the moment it's not top of my list. But I'm writing a film that I would like to make. And so I will be acting in that at some point. So that's my current acting project is a writing project.
Wow, that's interesting. So you might do something like an indie movie or something like that. But another thing is when actresses reach 50 or whatever, they all of a sudden become more character actors. They become the moms, they become the grandmoms. And there's a lot of opportunity, especially now with the small screen. There are so many avenues now on the small screen that I can't even keep up with them. I don't even know all the different channels there are now because there are so many of them, and yet sometimes you still can't find anything to watch. But so there's a lot of opportunities there, and a lot of the movie stars are moving into the small screen now. But I want to get to how people can reach you, Jordan. We have about 5 minutes left, and I want to make sure people know how to reach you. You also have a very interesting free gift. Your gift is a program, a free program that's been proven to reduce arguments and complaints and dissolve stress and tension around you. So, for those of you out there who do experience stress or do have the proclivity to get into arguments or complaints or whatever, this might be perfect for you. So tell us a little bit about that and where they can find it.
Sure. First, you can go to peaceandharmonydownload.com. And it's really bizarre and fabulous. This is a silent video that you can stream 24/7, and it emits a frequency that is a loving, soothing frequency. And people who are in the presence of this video playing feel comforted and soothed. And because of that, their stress levels go down, discussing stress. And when stress levels go down, people think more clearly, and they tend not to argue. They tend to think and behave more cooperatively. It's a pretty powerful result from this crazy little video that plays.
Wow, almost like some white noise or something like that. Very interesting. So, and what is your website? Where can they go to find you?
They can find me at promisedlife.com.
Okay, folks, so you've got promisedlife.com, which is her website, and you can go there and see what she has to offer. And if you feel like you would like to get this video, which will calm you down and allow you to become less stressed and so forth, there you go to peaceandharmonydownload.com. So there's a couple of different ways that you can stay in touch with Jordan and find out more about her. What else would you like to say? We've got about 2 minutes left that we haven't talked about, Jordan.
I would say the one thing that I would really love people to know is to stop making themselves wrong. Just live your life. And if you do something that you don't like, just look at it. You don't have to judge yourself. If you judge yourself, you're more likely to do it again. So just be compassionate with yourself and choose to not make yourself wrong.
Yeah, like a friend of mine says, next.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Oh, wow. Well, it's very interesting, Jordan, everything that you've presented us with today. And for those of you listening, as you can see, you don't have to do just one thing. Jordan has done a lot of things. She's been interested in a lot of things. She started off in medicine and still interested in health and skin and aging and all of those things, diet, exercise. But she also went into theater, did a lot of acting, and now she's writing a film that she wants to act in and produce, which is fantastic. And she developed this bubblist kind of thing where she envelops people in bubbles and she entertains young people. She puts you in a bubble if you're going to a prom. She goes to senior centers and does this. Fantastic. So visit her. Jordan, I want to thank you so much. Hopefully people will go to peaceandharmonydownload.com for your video, and they will go to your website, promiselife.com. Thank you so much for being with us. I want to invite everybody listening to go to the Facebook group, SOB Virtual Club, and join us there, or it's actually Virtual SOB Club, and join us there. And if you're wanting to get in contact with me, just go to spunkyoldbroad.com. Thanks so much for being with us today, Jordan. I really, really loved having you.
Thank you. Me too. I had a great time, Gayle.